Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I, Zen-Tube of Zen-Tube, would like to announce a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Amiibo Tournament. This tournament is going to feature all the Amiibos that have ever been included in the game, with a few exceptions, of course, being that, well, I don't have them. Now, I've already said which ones I've had and didn't have in previous videos, but this tournament will take place... Let me check my calendar here. This Saturday the 30th, if my math is right. So starting on the 30th of March, we will be holding this tournament. It will include we will have an elimination round to weed out all the 80 plus participants down to 32, at which point we'll really start things off. So don't miss it. Okay, if you're still here, it means you're watching the long version of this video. To that I say thank you. Now, perhaps I should go into a little bit more detail as far as what this tournament is all about. You see, there's been a lot of talk amongst YouTubers, or there's a growing belief, if you will, that the video game industry as a whole may be dying. Now, I personally don't think that to be the case. I sure as hell hope it isn't the case. But either way, it's kind of a worrying trend. My personal belief is that it's not dying, it's just we're kind of in a bit of a recession, or or perhaps maybe we're feeling a little, if I'm using the word correctly, listless, I guess. Personally, I think this all stems from the pandemic. I mean, after all, when you can't go outside, you can't do anything with friends. I mean, what else is there left to do besides play video games? I mean, you're more or less left with your thoughts, and I think a lot of people really sat down and thought to themselves, do we really need an E3? Do we really need a grandiose event every year for this kind of thing? And, and don't get me wrong, I mean, yeah, we millennials are kind of getting on in years, but, we are also the first generation to actually embrace the you're as young as you feel thing. And if I may, and although a lot of people give my generation a lot of crap, I personally think that this kind of gives us something more in common with our kids and then our grandkids, for those of us who are grandparents. But either way, I personally don't think the video game industry is dying, but for those of you who do think the game industry is dying, why not watch this tournament and rekindle your love for video games overall? I mean, after all, the roster is over 80 characters, so there's plenty of Nintendo nostalgia to be had, and as well as characters from other games. I mean, after all, this is a crossover game. So, as I said in the shorts version, or earlier in this video, if you're watching the full version of this video, I said that this tournament will be this Saturday the 30th, or rather, day one of the tournament will start on the 30th. And we'll be conducting elimination rounds until we get our 32 competitors. Why 32? Because this game's tournament bracket feature only goes up to 32, so we have to do some weeding out. Now, I'm well aware that it is the holiday of Easter, which is why we'll be doing this, which is why this will be broadcast at night, so... Anyway, that's pretty much all I would like to say. So, once again, the tournament begins Saturday the 30th, and I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, but if you don't watch this tournament this Saturday, milk and gas prices will go up by 10 times their current amount. Ramen and toilet paper will become scarce just as it was in 2020. The terrorists will win, our children and our children's children, or perhaps even their children, will grow up to have no time for their kids and not have any interest in games or what they're about. And worst of all, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we're going to have a total solar eclipse come April, which is about a couple weeks from now? Imagine that, but permanent. Yeah, I didn't think you'd want... Yeah, I don't think any of you want any of that to happen, so don't be a putz. Come and watch it already. Okay, so, if you're still here... Hold up. Alright, add text here. D-I-S-C-L... Disclaimer. Here we go. Okay, so... Now I have to discuss a disclaimer for those of you who are... Now I would like to discuss a disclaimer, if you will, for those of you who are copyright holders for this tournament. Oh, or not the tournament, but for this game in general. Alright, so here's the deal. Although I am not presently monetized as of yet as a YouTuber, I'm aiming to one day become monetized. But if or when, hopefully when, that should happen, I want to hereby relinquish my rights to being monetized for this video and any other subsequent video in this playlist. The playlist of which I create. Now, the reason I'm foregoing my right to be monetized is simple. I mean, there's just too many of you involved. There's too many companies that... There's just too many companies that I would have to negotiate with, and, you know, I mean, Matsuhiro Sakurai, the man who, you know, brought all of you guys together, I mean, he struggled to bring you guys together. You know, I mean, he almost failed in some ways. I mean, so what chance does a guy like me hoping to get famous who isn't already famous have? Slim to none. I figured it's just easier to forego my rights to make any money off of this. And besides, this isn't about the money so much as it is about just getting, you know, fellow game enthusiasts together to have a good time. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to look at this and say as much, but I just want to make it perfectly clear that this tournament is not in any way, shape, or form a dig or a jest or a jab at Nintendo's recent desires to hold effectively much smaller scale gatherings, you know. And, you know, I mean, Nintendo does what it wants to, right? I mean, it's their thing. And, you know, the thing is, I mean, this game is just that popular, right? I mean, okay, sure, maybe it was more or less for family gatherings or just small gatherings in general. I mean, maybe that was the intention behind it, but, I mean, you just can't stop everybody from holding a tournament, right? And like I said, I'm not making any money off of this whatsoever, so there's really nothing to be had here. And plus, I'm the only human being that's actually conducting this event. Like I said, all the participants are going to be Amiibos, so really there's no real persons actually fighting in this thing. So if anything, you know, and if there's nobody gathered together in a small setting, there can't possibly be anything going awry, you know? No mischiefs, no crimes, nothing. So anyway, take that for what you will. But I just wanted to point that out. You know, I'm just trying to rekindle everyone's love for video games here. Now, as far as... okay, I guess that's just going to create a new one, right? Yeah, okay. So, here's the thing. Speaking of credits, although and here's the thing, if you're a voice actor, or actually more so a musical talent who has provided music, who has worked with these companies to provide... Hold up. Okay, here we go. If you're a musical talent who has worked with any of the companies listed below here, who've worked on this game, and they in turn used your music for the creation of this game, if I give credit or a shout out to these companies, that should by and large be a shout out to you guys as well. Now, here's the thing. I don't mind giving individual credit where credit's due if you really want me to point that out explicitly. But the thing is that, well, I mean, there's a lot of people who helped make this game. I mean, this game is a walking dream project, you know. So it's not that I can't show the credits. It's just that, I mean, no self-respecting YouTuber is going to make their audience sit and watch a 3, 5, maybe even 10-minute long credit sequence, you know, just to see one or a few people's names especially on there. You know, it's just much easier to show this and, you know, move right along. I mean, I've looked at the YouTube analytics here for my videos. The average view duration is only like a couple minutes into the video. That's not to say that, I mean, not everybody watch. That's just basically the average. I mean, some people probably do watch the videos to the very end, and I appreciate that. So if anybody's out there still watching this for whatever reason, and you're not a copyright holder, again, thank you, but I'm just telling it like it is. So, like I said, if you're a musical talent, and you worked with these companies, and these companies in turn used your music for this game, if I credit them, I just want you to know that's a credit to you as well. Now, the explicit reason I bring that up is because during my World of Light playthrough, or rather the first chapter thereof, I might actually do the second and third chapters of that playthrough, but right now I'm kind of putting that on the back burner in favor of this. Now, the reason I bring up this copyright thing is because I have had not one, but 2 different copyright copyright claims on 2 separate videos. Now, according to YouTube, they're not strikes against me. They're just claims. You know, so as far as being a YouTuber goes, I've sustained no damage here. Basically, YouTube has basically said that there was a copyright claim, and that the parties involved actually allow the use of the things in question. And this is even despite the warnings or the disclaimers here, or the credits. I mean, here's the thing. Even though I've sustained no damage as a YouTuber, I mean, I can't help but feel... I mean, what happens if how many claims do I have to occur before it becomes a strike, you know? I mean, I can't afford that. I can't afford to take that risk, you know? Now, what's weird about it, and I don't mind sharing this bit of detail with you, the weird part is that, I mean, one of the 2 videos especially, it wasn't even released to the public yet. I mean, yes, it was uploaded, but it was on a time release. And within 24 hours before it was set to release, did I get hit with a copyright claim. So that tells me one of 2 things. Either someone somehow found it via a direct link, which I never shared with anybody, by the way, so it might have been something completely at random, or YouTube has an algorithm or computer program that actually watches a video despite its privatized status, and then proceeds to issue warnings based on a criteria. You know, like it's not even seen by an actual person. So, like I said, I just can't afford any strikes or even claims on my account. you know. I mean, I'm trying to I'm trying to become monetized someday. I mean, I don't want to make money off of this, but that's not to say that I don't want to make money in the future. I mean, I'm sorry to say, one person can't work one job to support oneself anymore. You know? I mean, I don't mean to come off as a milksop, but, you know, that's just how it is. You know? I guess the last thing I want to point out as far as credits go, with the exception of this video and subsequent videos, or with the exception of this first video and maybe the last video, before and, you know, at the start and finish of each episode in this tournament, I'm probably just going to do a shortened credits like this right here. I'll begin with these two title cards and finish with these two title cards. If only because, well, it's short, simple, and sweet, you know, and I don't think anybody is going to really complain too much about that. And besides that fact, I think I'm the only one who's actually been doing something like this so far. So, if anything, it's kind of become endearing, I guess. So, that's all well and good. So, anyway, that was the advertisement, premise, and the disclaimer. A few closing remarks here in general for everyone else that's still listening. I'm well aware that the quality of my videos isn't very good, and that I'm a one-person crew, so I don't really have a co-pilot or a co-host to bounce off of, you know, as far as conversation goes. So, yeah, there might be times where I may seem like I'm out of energy, but the thing is, you know, it's kind of hard to remember that I'm trying to play for a crowd and not just in the comfort of my own home, right? Doing this on my own time. So, if I don't say anything for a long time, I apologize, you know. As far as the quality of the videos go, my laptop is about 7 or 8 years old now, and I'm kind of pushing it to its limit. I mean, already it took about 30 minutes to boot up from sleep mode. So, unfortunately, I need to try to make money to afford better equipment. As far as the thumbnails go, I have found a way to master the use of thumbnails, so I do have some screenshots that I have uploaded into my computer, so I can just simply draw from that as the thumbnail. So, I mean, you'll all see it, so I don't have to explain that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I really wanted to touch base on in this episode. So, again, tournament is on the 30th, and I would appreciate if you could all attend the event. And by that I mean watch, you know, it on YouTube. So, anyway, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all this Saturday. Now, with that, I leave you with the credits.